Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Snehal Sunil Bailurkar. I am a MCA student studying in 4th SEM. Today I am going to explain my project. My project topic is object segmentation and tracking in image using deep learning. So, the first chapter is Introduction. As a way to comprehend and interpret visual input, object segmentation and tracking are essential computer vision tasks. The action of detecting and isolating individual items or areas of interest within still photos or moving pictures is known as object segmentation. This technique enables computers to understand their environment and concentrate on particular entities for further study. Numerous industries, including object recognition, medical imaging, and scene comprehension, use this job. However, object tracking allows for continuous monitoring and study of the trajectories and behavior of identifiable objects by tracking their movements through time in video sequence. This method are crucial in fields like surveillance, robotics, and autonomous vehicles, where real time object monitoring is essential to navigation and decision making. Throughout the years, as innovations, a method for dividing an image or video into separate regions or segments, each segment corresponding to a certain extent object or object portion of interest, is known as object segmentation. The objective is to present the background and other unimportant parts of the scene stand out from the main objects. With the help of segmentation algorithms, each object's location can be correctly represented by a pixel level mask. Following an object's movement and position across a series of frame in a video or image is called object tracking. Tracking algorithms estimate an object's position in the following frames after it has been segmented beginning with frame, and they update the object's location accordingly. These are the objectives. The primary goal is to create accurate and dependable procedures for separating objects from congested cloud of points representation of surroundings. Multi-object surveillance, which involves not only segmenting individual items but also surveillance of their true nature and emotion and motions, is a crucial component to make sure that these algorithms can function well in context with limited resource. Once a workable solution that had been created, it was time to put into practice. Numerous problems emerged throughout the process. The next is methodology. A, method, a methodical a methodical strategy is used to derive and keep custody of object IDs throughout time in the methodology for object segmentation and tracking in points in clouds, where pixels relating to the identical item are grouped using clustering or region growing algorithms. The fragmented objects are then used to recover pertinent elements such as mobility traits, architectural qualities, and aesthetic aspects. Small boxes are used in iterations of the methodology is depicted in the diagram below. This is the diagram for stages of iteration. Once each cycle is complete, the application the application is then made public. The subsequent stages are analysis and design, execution requirements, next iteration, consolidation, and releases. These are the iterations. The chapter 2 is about literature survey. In this we have existing system and proposed system. In existing system such as picture thresholding, edge detection, region expanding, and counter detection are examples of conventional computer vision techniques. For estimating motion, we use the Kalman filter, particle filter, mean shifting tracking, and perhaps optical flow. Basic features like texture descriptors and color histograms features that use key points such as SIFT or SURF. Heuristics for simple data association, limited ability to handle difficult situations and occlusions. Real-time performance varies depending on how complicated the scenario is. Medium hardware specification. The integration between segmentation and tracking may be minimal. Less annotated datasets may be available for training. The next is proposed system. Employing fully convolutional networks, it is FCNs, or convolutional neural networks, it is CNNs, for segmentation based on deep learning models, for instance segmentation and object detection like SSD, YOLO, or faster are CNN. Tracking models based on deep learning such as correlation filters or CIMUS networks, keeping an eye on various things using graph based methods like deep sort. Tracking models based on deep learning such as correlation filters or CIMUS networks. Watching many objects using graph-based methods like deep sort, employing deep association metrics, or the Hungarian algorithms are advanced data association. Online learning for long-term adaptability, enhanced resilience when employing the use of deep learning models to handle occlusions and complicated circumstances. Enhance real-time performance using hardware acceleration and models for deep learning that have been improved. Deep learning based models more stringent hardware needs. There could be demand for GPUs or specialized care creation of a complete system that seamlessly integrates tracking and object segmentation components. The next is advantages of proposed system. Tasks for tracking, segmenting data is possible to do in real time or very close to it. They are suitable for application as a result that call for speedy processing. Point clouds often have fewer storage needs than pixel based images or volumetric data, which is helpful in circumstances when memory or bandwidth are constrained. In light of their reliance on sparse data representation, point based approaches may be more resistant to occlusion. Traditional pixel based techniques may have pixel level errors, but point based strategies can more accurately depict shapes. The next topic is feasibility study. In that we have feasibility analysis and operational feasibility. How can in feasibility analysis, how can a visual system segment and track object is a fundamental topic for both natural and artificial vision. In the actual world, deformation, perspective shifts, or dynamic occlusion can cause objects or drastical after how they see. For instance, a moving animal behind a fence will break up into several parts. How can a visual system provide a single label to every component of a single object across time and space? Here we demonstrate the approach on a cluttered synthetic video and show that there are ways to fix this using only geometric mechanisms. The technique presented here offers a bridge from sensation to sophisticated symbolic reasoning by permitting the automatic transfer of visual information from a sensory to symbolic format. Next is operational feasibility. Software is only valuable to users when it might be developed into an information system that meets the needs of the business. Among the problems here, among other problems here, does the program have enough management and user support? We users involved in the planning of the software, is the proposed system workable? The next topic is tools and technologies that are used in this. The first one is PHP. A server-side programming language is designed exclusively for web development is called PHP. PHP commands are put directly into an HTML source document as opposed to calling a server. Installed on web servers, used for quick application development and acts as the main filter. There are some advantages of PHP. They are PHP is a FOSS, that is free open source software. Code development is quick and easy. PHP uses OOPS concepts. It can be deployed on many platforms. Here is the diagram representing the features of PHP. The next is CSS. CSS means cascading style sheets, or CSS is a language used to describe how HTML or XML web pages are presented and laid out. It offers a method of adjusting the visual aspects of web content, including colors, fonts, spacing, positioning, and more. It is simpler to manage and maintain the style of your website when you use CSS to separate a web page's display from its content. To target certain HTML component for styling with CSS, use selectors. The chosen elements styles are determined via CSS attributes. The value of a CSS property specify how it should be applied to an element. The next is Python. Python is an interpreted languages, which means the Python interpreter runs the code line by line without the need for a separate com- compilation stage. This enables quick development and simple debugging. Python's huge helpful community and ease of use have helped it grow tremendously in popularity over the years. This is the diagram that describes the libraries of Python for ML or deep learning. The next is NumPy. In a library of multidimensional arrays and objects to collection of methods for processing those arrays, NumPy stands for numerical Python. NumPy is applicable to conduct mathematical and logical operations on arrays. Open source numerical Python library is called NumPy. The next tool is OpenCV. A wide range of functions for image and video processing, computer vision jobs, and artificial intelligence applications are supplied by the open source computer vision, likewise machine learning library known as OpenCV. OpenCV is a capable of image processing and analysis, and OpenCV Python has been intended to have library Python bindings. Developers may read, write, process, and edit pictures and videos in using OpenCV. Machine learning is already supported by OpenCV and it comes with tools for building and refining models. The next is Keras. Python-based Keras is an API for high-level neural networks. It is an open source library that is built on top of TensorFlow and the Microsoft Cognitive Toolkit, that is CNTK, two major deep learning frameworks. One of the Keras main feature is that it enables quick and simple prototyping, which is particularly helpful for beginners learning machine learning. TensorFlow and CNTK are just a few of the backends that Keras support. Neural networks using convolutional and recurrence functional API for complicated models, feed forward networks, and other forms of neural network architectures are all supported by Keras. The next tool is TensorFlow. TensorFlow is a free and open source computer vision software framework that is frequently used for a variety of applications but has a focus on teaching deep neural networks to make inference. TensorFlow, perhaps a symbolic math library, supported data flow differentiable with programming, high on scalability, computation crosswise in machines, and huge datasets. GPU or CPU computing where an equivalent code are commonly run to do both architecture. The next tool is jQuery. Client-side web development is made easier by the fast, lightweight, and feature-rich JavaScript library known as jQuery. It offers a range of instruments and functions to collaborate with HTML pages, manage events, send AJAX queries, and run animations. Developers may choose and alter HTML elements, attributes, and contents with a short and simple syntax. Thanks to jQuery's simple and effective DOM manipulation, some advantages are it is user friendly, it is interactable, it uses DOM events, effects, and animations. So the next tool is MySQL. Several apps uses MySQL as an open source relational database management system, that is RDBMS, to manage and organize data. It is renowned for its effectiveness, scalability, and usability. MySQL arranges that data into tables with rows and columns. Since it has relational database, it is simple to easily organize and query data using this structured approach. Under the terms of GNU, that is General Public License, GPL, MySQL is accessible as free software that can be used, modified, and distributed. MySQL is ideal for a wide range of applications from straightforward website to complex business systems, as it can manage modest to large scale database. Because MySQL is performance optimized and effectively handles read and write operations, it is a good choice for website with plenty of traffic. Provides transactional and non-transactional storage engines. The next tool is XAMPP. A local atmosphere for web developers development is offered by the free and open source software package known as SAM, which stands for cross platforms Apache, MariaDB, PHP, and Perl. It makes it easier to install a web server and database on a computer, enabling offline testing and development of websites and web applications. Cross platforms cost free software for local web development is called SAM. Components a package containing Apache, MariaDB, PHP, and Perl. Create a testing and environmental conditions for an offline web server and database. Easy installation, quick development with a straightforward setup processes. Multiple local websites are supported by virtual host, each with a different domain name. Security due to the potential vulnerabilities. Production use is not advised. Adson enables the addition of extra parts of the customization, enhancing extension. Okay, the next topic is hardware and software requirements. In these software requirements that are used are for the web server, XAMPP server. Backend is MySQL, technology is PHP, front-end languages are CSS and HTML. IDE is Sublime Text, and the version is 5.0. The hardware requirements are operating system, that is Windows 10 or 11, RAM 4 GB, hard disk minimum 40 GB, and the processor is Core i3 and above. Okay, the next chapter is software requirements and its specifications. Due to the increasing number and variety of current websites, in addition, they are increasing significance in social and economic contexts. Adaptable approaches and tools are necessary to enable websites quality evaluation in an effective and efficient manner. Every day, more companies, groups, and individuals crafting their own unique websites. Everyone should wish to find and access relevant information given the abundance of data available online. Internet users might, for instance, use it to explore other e commerce websites and the products and services they offer. The duty of accessing and updating websites could be terrifying given the prevalence of websites and the frequency of modifications. The scope for software requirement specification is to be able to enable websites quality evaluation is an effective and efficient manner. Flexible methodologies and tools are required since the growing quantity and variety of current websites, along with their growing importance in social and economic contexts, the quantity of business, organization, and individuals creating website is growing every day. Given the wealth of details regarding the interest, everyone should want to find and access useful information. Users might, for instance, utilize the internet to research various shopping websites and the goods and services they provide. Given the abundance of websites and the regularity of updates, the work of analyzing and updating websites might be frightening. Reddit is a well known user driven site with numerous communities dubbed. The next topic is the functional requirements. Based on predetermined criteria or user inputs, the system should be capable of precisely detect and segment objects of interest in the input video or picture stream. The system has to be able to keep the segmented objects identities while following them over successive frames of the video or picture stream to enable seamlessly and continuous monitoring of moving objects. The object segmentation and tracking should be performed in real time. Even when they overlap or block one another, the system should be capacity to oversee and track many items at once. To reduce false positives and false negatives, the segmentation and tracking algorithm should be highly precise and accurate to sustain accurate tracking. The system must be resistant to changes in lighting, conditions, background clutter, and object appearance. The in functional requirements, there are again two topics that are defined requirements and required details. In defined requirements, for the period of use, the system should process data without any errors. Implementing cross-banking capability is a good idea. The pending record should be updated soon. There is a dependable connection if there is an interest issue. Required digital click any body part of the image to examine the symptoms, instantly inspect a picture to identify malignancy, and update the state of service. The right for information was provided. The non-functional requirements are to achieve quick and accurate training results. The system has to be able to process video or picture streams in real time or with a low amount of delay. The system should be scalable so that it can handle more sophisticated or large scale video streams or photos without noticeable degrading its performance. To ensure seamlessly operation on various hardware configuration, the object segmentation and tracking algorithm should be optimized for effective use of the computational resource, CPU or RAM, etc. According to their particular tracking needs, the system should include programmable settings that users can employ to alter the trade-off between accuracy and processing data speed. Users should be able to set up the tracking settings and access the tracking results with ease thanks to an intuitive user interface and user-friendly interactions. A very user-friendly graphical user interface is required. The system only needs to the barest minimum of hardware and software of the function. Faster system performance, the mouse and the buttons are hardly ever used. The next chapter is the system design. System design simply acts as a link between the required specification and the actual solution for the requirements. This concentrates on selecting the component required for the system, specifying these components, and determining how components should be connected. This is the diagram for system perspective, and this is the explanation. The model parameters estimation, finding the model's ideal parameter values which will be enable the model to make precise predictions or inference on fresh data is the main objective of the parameter estimation. The relevant feature is selection The act of picking the characteristics that will be used to create a predictive model or conduct data analysis that are the most insightful of and pertinent. The number of classes estimation in different analysis of data and artificial intelligence task determining the number of classes in a data set or a problems areas in a crucial, especially in supervised learning where the number of classes correlates to the unique categories or labels that the model has to forecast. Algorithm converge. The algorithm has arrived to an approximately correct answer that fulfills the criteria for convergence or termination conditions. Optimal model selection. The manner of selecting the best machine learning model for a specific job or is use is known as a optical model selection. The objective is to design a model that broadens well and performs well on unidefined information. The next chapter is fifth chapter. It is detailed design. The design of the software depends on its quality. During the design phase, the needs of the consumer are turned into an comprehensive solution. The intent is to creating a system who takes into account each and every limitations placed on it. The process of selecting the various system components and putting user needs into practice is known as the software design. To ensure and desired outcome where attend various subsystems are chosen independently, designed and then merged. In that first diagram is the use case diagram. um, the sky, the ground and the items make up the world. In order to see items visually, two fundamental problems must be resolved. Segmenting visual input into discrete units is the first step, followed by tracking the identities of these units despite changes in the appearance brought on by object deformation, shifting perspectives, and dynamic occlusion. Can objects be separated and tracked without learning? That is the question that arises from the current computer vision approaches to the segmenting and tracking that mimic human performance. Here we demonstrate how the mathematical makeup of light rays reflected off the environmental surfaces produces a natural representation of persistent surface, and how this surface representation solves the segmentation and tracking issues simultaneously. We outline the process for creating the surface representation from continuous visual input. This is a use case diagram, and next is the data flow diagram. Uh, this is the diagram for the detection or segmentation of any object. The explanation is it is the modeling tool used in showing data flows through various system stages or parts. Arrows connecting processes, data source stores the and external entities serve as a visual representation of data flows. The object segmentation generator ultimately applies cutting edge image processing methods like YOLO to the data that it receives by creating borders or overlays over the objects that are recognized. The splitting module isolates the foreground objects from the background. The object tracking module receives these divided objects and tracks them across frames using complex monitoring techniques like Kalman filters or correlation based techniques. The next is the ER diagram, that is which is also known as database design. An entity relationship, ER, is a graphic depiction of a database system's logical architecture. Its modeling approach used to create and display the connections between the database elements, objects or concepts. This is the ER diagram. YOLO stands for an approach for effortlessly and precisely identifying entities in picture and movies. The incoming image is divided into a grid by YOLO, which then forecasts bounding boxes and the class probabilities in real time. A variety of operations for image processing are available with OpenSea, such as picture loading, scaling, screening, and rotations. A collection of tools from OpenCV are also available for subsequently processing YOLO output. The next diagram is the sequence diagram. A diagram of a sequence is a form of interaction diagram in UML. UML is Unified Modeling Language that illustrates the interactions and exchanges of messages between numerous objects or subsystems over time to represent the dynamic behavior of a system. It demonstrates how different pieces interact and accesses information in a certain scenario or use case diagram. This is the diagram that describing the sequence. The next is the architecture diagram. An architecture diagram is a graphical representation that provides an overview of the structure and components of a system or application. It illustrates how different parts of a system interact and cooperate to achieve the system's overall functionality and goals. This is the architecture diagram. The object page segmenting element is the initial crucial element in submitting photos or framework. It is in charge of separating the objects of interest from the backdrop. After segmenting the items, the object tracking module receives them. This component tracks the motion of each item across a series of frames in a video stream using tracking techniques. The graphics module receives the tracking results from the object tracking module. Other elements for a data storage or communication can be incorporated within the structure of the system. Overall, the object categorization and surveillance infrastructure diagram shows a coordinated flow of data and processing steps, enabling precise identification and ongoing monitoring of objects in various applications like observation, artificial intelligence, and autonomous automobiles. The next chapter is the sixth chapter, that is implementation. This is the source code. This page describes the source code for HTML page, and the second one is the source code for creating tables. This is the source code for creating a table of a person's tracks record. This is the source code for creating a tables for information of users. And this source code is for creating the tables. The screenshots of the project. The first page is the login page. This above screenshot describes about login page of an admin. Every use requires login, and only the administrators is having the access over the username and the password. The next is the home page. The above screenshot describes about home page. The administrator checks the IDs of the tracking records. The next is the records. The above screenshot describes about record page. The tracked information is being recorded in this records page, and details of the particular is recorded here. The next is adding records. The above screenshot describes about adding record page when new record is being added to the list using this page. The next is establishment list. This screenshot describes about establishment list page. The information regarded to the firms is being recorded here. Editing of the existing records and deletion of the record is done in the establishment list. The next is adding establishment. The above screenshots describes about establishment page. New establishment is added to the existing list with this address. This is editing establishment page. In this screenshot, so it describes about the editing establishment page. Here the administrator edits the establishment information if any update is to be done here regarding to that form in this part. The next is persons list. The above screenshots describes about persons list page. Here the information connected to the person is being recorded. The admin can view, edit, or clear the particular person page in this page. The next is the adding person. The above screenshot describes about adding new person page. When person in the list is being added from this page in the record of person list, the detailed is record by taking the requirement data of the person. The next is the users page. The above screenshot describes about the users page. This page describes the users can visit the site, which means it gives the collection of administration who all can access it. The next screenshot is about the adding new user. The above screenshot describes about adding new user page. If this administration can add a new user, so that he or she can also access the data, and also user type should be mentioned. The next is the edit user. The above screenshot describes about editing user page. The administrator can do the editing of information of particular user from this editing page if any information need to be updated or changed. The next is the data set. This is also the data set. Next chapter is software testing. Testing, the evaluation and verification of a software application or a system during the testing phase of a software development ensures that it satisfies the requirement set forth and operates as intended. The main objective of testing is to find flaws, mistakes, and inconsistencies in the software and to ensure it performs dependability and quality. These are the types of test. The first is functional testing. It is the testing the functionality against the software. The second is non-functional testing. This is the testing the behavioral characteristics of the software. The next is confirmation testing. This is the retesting, and the last one is the regression testing. This is the no new defects are introduced in the process of fixing the earlier identified defects. The next is testing techniques applied. Here two techniques have been applied, that is the black box testing and the white box testing. When using the black box testing techniques, the programs being tested is tested without the tester being aware of its internal code structure or implementation specifies. The software is treated as a black box by the tester, who only examines its inputs, outputs, and behavior based on its needs and functional requirements of the programs. Tester creates a text case by giving the software of various inputs and watching for the appropriate outputs. They carry out these test case. The process doesn't take into account an application's internal operations. Uh, the internal code structure. The internal code structure, control flow, and data flow of the software are the basis of which tester create test case to find any potential faults, logical flaws, or vulnerabilities. They seek to the test various paths and conditions within the code. The benefits of white box testing include its capacity to find faults that black box testing could miss, its emphasis on the code coverage and optimization, and its efficiency in locating implementation specific problems. The next chapter is the eighth chapter, that is the conclusion. Um, as a result of this unequivocally demonstrate how well the tracker performs better in relation to what number of system resources are utilized. One might enable the system to operate in a restricted environment like an embedded sensor environment, because to this appealing trait, the system's components are all completely modular, allowing the tracker allowing the tracker to operate independently and handle its own input streams to produce its own output. However, the precision of the tracker is a fatal devastating shortcoming, which is also its major issues. As has been stated numerous times before, depending on the segmenting method is employs, this tracker can adapt to change in the market in front of the picture of a critical system. The next is future enhancement. The ability to detect things is crucial is crucial to the majority of vision systems for computers and robots, even if many consumers electronics now incorporate certain outdated methods, for instance, face detection in smartphones, or have them built into assistants. We have a long way to go before driving technology function at human levels, especially in terms of open world learning. Despite its potential value, object detection has not been applied frequently in many years. The requirement for object segmentation system increases as mobile robots and generally autonomous machines such as quadcopters, drones, and eventually service robots start to be used more frequently. This is the reference part that has been used. Okay, thank you.